some of my favorite scenes from the movie. The movie starts off perfectly. We have this amazing, ridiculous fight sequence kind of thing going on in the credits. And the fact that the credits said, like, some asshole producers, and, like, they didn't tell the names of anybody who was doing this. Like, they just said, like, fucking stupid things. That was hilarious. Also, I love the character of Dopinder, the taxi driver, who's like Deadpool's taxi driver that he never pays him, but he gives him life advice and stuff like that. I thought that was like super adorable. I loved so much when Dopinder's telling him about this problem that he's having with his girl, and his girl's falling in love with his cousin, and then later on you find out that Dopinder has his cousin in the trunk, and Deadpool's like, Colossus is like, no, you shouldn't do that, and Deadpool's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. Yes, you should totally do that. I'm so proud of you. Like, I thought that was so cute. Good, big ups on you, Deadpool, helping the everyman out. Another thing I loved was the fact that this movie feels like it takes place in a larger X-Men universe, okay? Like, we're talking about mutants, it's a thing that's going on, we see the X-Mansion, Deadpool makes jokes about Xavier, like, I fucking loved it. I love the joke even where he talks about how he goes to the X-Mansion to get their help because he needs them later on. And he says, like, oh, it's weird. Like, the studio could only afford you two X-Men to be here. Like, it was just, I laughed so hard. I also really enjoyed the fact that they did do an after credits scene. Like, everybody in the theater waited, including myself, to see. And we were not let down. They totally had an ending on there. And you had Deadpool coming up, and he's dressed in his Deadpool costume, but then he has, like, pajamas over the top of it. And he mentions a little something about Cable. So if we get another Deadpool movie, like, we might see Cable, and like, holy fuck, like, if I saw Cable, I would fucking die. Like, I'd be like, cheers to life. I've seen Cable on the big screen.
Tell me about Deadpool in the comic books. What is he like?
Okay, so as I stated earlier, Deadpool is aware that he's a fictional hero in the comic books, so he's constantly breaking the fourth wall, which is a lot of fun. Another fun fact about him is that he is omnisexual. Whatever he's feeling at the time is right. He doesn't care. It's whatever he feels at that moment, and then the moment passes. Like, he does not have a sexuality. He is into anything and everything in the moment that it happens, which I thought was really adorable. Deadpool's fighting style is really interesting within the comics because he is so crazy. He's schizophrenic, so like his fucking fighting style is like super erratic, and you never know what the fuck is going on. And even Taskmaster, who is another mercenary, and his power is to be able to mimic anyone, with fucking moves. Like, even Taskmaster can't handle this dude because he's so fucking, like, crazy. He's just like, I don't know how to, like, predict what he's gonna do next because he's nuts. Like, how can you predict a crazy person? You totally can't.
What's that? What do you got there?
I have a signed by Rob Liefeld copy of X-Force, A Force to be Reckoned With. This is where Deadpool first shows up. And in his original incarnation, he does have a mouth, like he talks too much, but like he's not necessarily the Deadpool that you know and love today. Like, I think he gets like crazier and more absurd as time goes on. That happens later, but that's a whole other bag of cats.
Tell me about the characters in the movie.
So now let's talk about the villain. We have Ajax, aka Francis, and this is an actual character from the comic books. He's from Deadpool number 14. He wasn't the actual scientist that did this to him in the comic books. He was an enforcer who was like working for the scientist, and he was the one who like cut out his heart and like made him regenerate for the first time and like cost him his sanity and all that stuff. So he's kind of like a low budget villain for this film, but he was totally fine because the movie really isn't about the villain, it's more about the hero. So I was totally fine with Ajax Deadpool Next up, we have Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I'm super pumped to see her. She's from like Grant Morrison's new X-Men run and like died super quick. She was super gothed out. She's a precog. But I love that they took her character. I love what they did with her. I love the fact that she is Colossus's like trainee, because that's what the X-Men are essentially about. And that's what's been lost in all these movies, is like showing them training like the younger generation. Like that's the whole deal. So I loved seeing that whole situation going on. I have no problems with them like changing her powers. Like it was totally fine. It wasn't an abomination like, you know, Kid Omega was. You know, that shit sucked. And another thing, I love that she was in black and yellow. It wasn't blue and yellow because, you know, Bryan Singer just will not allow any color other than fucking black in these fucking movies. So I was excited to see something that kind of resembled a fucking costume from the comic books. I was like, yellow, I can't believe it. So, and I love the interplay between Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Deadpool. I love that, like, of course he's gonna love her name because it's totally absurd and ridiculous, and he's totally absurd and ridiculous. And then by the end of the movie, she's like, he's cool, you know? And he's like, oh, I'm so proud of you, not saying something that's like shitty or like just a silence. Like, that was so cute. It was adorable. Okay, so Jessica Jones is all about Jessica Jones. She is a private investigator. She has superhuman strength. She has limited invulnerability, and she is on the case. She's trying to build her deal, trying to get away from her past. She's having a really hard time. Her parents died in this accident. That's where she got chemicals dumped on her, and that's why she has her powers.